One evening as the sun went down and the jungle fire was burning, down the track came a hobo hiking, and he said, "Boys, I'm not turning. I'm headed for a land that's far away, beside the crystal fountains. So come with me, we'll go and see the big rock candy mountains."
We've got a couple problems with this photograph. It's got a blush tint, it's underexposed, and the photographer wished he used a wide open aperture to put the background out of focus. So I'm going to make some initial adjustments in Camera Raw. It's a very powerful tool to manipulate the image quickly. I do want to try to bring out the richness of the blacks in here and create more of a contrast. Now the first thing I'm going to do when I open my document is switch the mode, and I'm going to switch it to lab colors. It's a real easy way to pop the colors in an image fast. Then I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to go to Image Mode, Lab Colors. Don't flatten. And then Image Apply Image. Now under Channels, pick A or B, but not Lightness. It doesn't really affect. And I switched my blend mode, or had my blend mode, on Soft Overlay. The next thing I'm going to do is go to Blur, Lens Blur. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to put a faux wide open lens effect on my image to throw my background into a blurry field. I'm going to put a layer mask over the image and hit I invert to change it to black, and then go over my background with white to expose only the background and the blurred part, helping to separate the image from foreground to background. Now the red you see is myself checking my mask in order to make sure I'm covering the areas I want to cover and leaving the other areas alone. You hit your mask by the / key, and I toggle between my two bracket keys right beside it to change my brush size, and I use X to toggle between my black and white. Hitting B on the keyboard will bring up the brush tool. So simply go around using the brush to create the mask right now. Trying to get into the details so the pump does have a realistic foreground background effect. I am going to change my blend mode down to 45% and just go over this middle so it's not so harsh, the transition between the two. And there's pretty much, I'm just switching back to my red just to see how my mask is looking. Now I'm still on 40% and I want to blend the two areas between foreground and background so there's a nice transition. Now when you've accomplished that, flatten this layer and then go into it with a unsharpened mask. Now when you're working with metallics, you really can pump this up because of the hard edges. I'm going to put an adjustment layer on here, just kind of tweaking it a little bit. And then I am going to block out my pump, because my adjustment layer was really darkening up the image, but I don't want my pump to be dark for that adjustment layer. So I'm just trying to separate the two, the foreground and the background. And when I'm done with this, I will flatten this again, then duplicate that layer and change the layer mode to screen. And then I'm going to invert the mask, paint with white to just bring out some highlights in the pump. And then take that whole layer down to 70%. I'm going to change it back to CMYK, then go back into Hue Saturation under Image to bring down the saturation a little bit, and there you have it, your final image. Before, and here's the after.